Found this on eBay. It's made up to look like a UK diesel in the screen, yellow fronts, but I don't recognise the running number, I don't recognise the class, and this symbol here looks very badly painted on. So let's find out more. Well, hi YouTubers, and today I've got this strange looking diesel. It's made by Fleischmann and it looks like a UK, but I don't think it is. So if I can get it working, I'll probably strip back the paint and give it a new livery. So let's see first of all what it looks like. Well, it's got couplers and there's a buffer missing at the front. Got a couple of this end and buffers there, but that's a wee bit twisted, so it's obviously suffered a wee bit damage. Other than that, it doesn't look too bad. Very badly overpainted in the roof. This doesn't look very nice, or that. So maybe this needs a whole strip down. So let me try and get it open and we'll see what it looks like inside. I think the cover just comes off by unclipping front and back and both sides. And it comes there and there. Put this to one side. And once again I've come up with something I've never seen before. Right, so what can I do? I see a couple of turret pins, so I'll just push those through. And that should release the bogie turrets, making sure I don't lose the idler gear. Same on this side. Take the pin out. Oops. And release the bogie. Again, check the idler gear. And also, here's a wee tip based on experience. Don't lose the pins. Right, so what have we got? Right, I think I'll apply a little bit of voltage. Hopefully that should get some life somewhere. And I don't, oops, a bit of sparking going on, but other than that, I don't feel any movement in the motor. And there's no lamps in the front or the rear, whatever one's which, so I can't check that out. Okay, I'll just do a little bit more investigation. So as I was checking continuity, I brushed against the coil and it basically fell off. So obviously dry jointed or broken connection, I'm not quite sure. However, I noticed that this contact here and this contact here actually feed through the panel. Just about see the pillars. Let me just come in a little bit. Just see those two contacts coming down. Those are the motor contacts. So my theory is, if I can put power here, maybe I'll get this working. So I'll turn it around so you can see the motor and the power at the same time. So on there and on there, and yeah. So it looks as if there's a good chance that all it was this broken connection, and certainly the soldering is probably quite old. How old would this be? I've no idea, but it's certainly pre-plastic. So 30 years old, so the solder probably needing a wee bit of refreshment. I took away the old solder, cleaned the pads, resoldered. I very carefully stripped the enamel off the ends of these two wires, and then very carefully resoldered it. This is probably known as an electrical interference suppressor coil, and that stops things like sparking in your radio and your TV. Maybe not as visible nowadays in digital, but there are still some analog devices around. So, does that work? Well, obviously, if I just put power here, that's where I had it before, and it works. So now I'm going to transfer to the other end of the coil, and we should get continuity. There we go. And then I'm going to take it right back to the chassis and this plate, which is the pickup from the bogie, and at the other end of the locomotive get a good connection, and I'm getting the motor to run. So, was that all that's wrong with it? It's possible, but at this stage I'll probably just stop and give it a good old clean up and lubrication. I'm going to start by removing this PCB, and it's held on by little clips at each side, and if I just ease these to one side, you can see they just fit into recesses in the panel. And that one there, that's the send free, and this bit here, and on this side, whoops, need to come in here, there we go. And that should, oh no, it might not actually. I need to be careful how it's connected to the motor. Okay, it lists off, so let's see how it's connected to the motor. Oh, these two contact arms, so I'll obviously have to clean these bolts as well, and they will contact onto the two poles of the motor. With the plate removed, I'm going to see if this motor comes out. Before I do so, I think I'll just put a little mark on it to indicate this should be top up when I put it in. So, oh, just unclips, and you can see there's a lot of black carbonized stuff in here and there, and there's the motor with the axle. I'm seeing a lot of black carbonized stuff in here as well. Look at that, you can see that. The brushes, so all this carbon gunk is obviously the brushes wearing away. I'm not going to take them out and check them. One, because they look too delicate. Two, I don't have replacements. And three, I might never get them back in. You know, let's say leave well alone. We know it runs, so I'll just clean as much as I can. Gives me an ideal opportunity to just clean and lubricate the bogies. The bogies seem to be okay mechanically, but the wheels are pretty grotty. I don't see any traction tyre. Oops, sorry, I don't see any traction tyres, so that's a good thing. I can just clean the wheels vigorously. Yeah. So first of all, remove the screw. That will unclip the bogie frame, that will release the wheels, and I think that the contact plates will probably need cleaning. In fact, I don't know if someone's been at this before, but I just realised, let's see that, see those two arms sticking up there? They should be underneath the wheels, not above them. Ah, someone's been having a go, unless that's right, is it? It's all over the place. Check both of them. Ah. No, there must be, somebody's having a go at it. Somebody definitely had a go at it. Yeah, no problem. I'm at the stage where I'm going to start reassembling the bogies. I've stripped them down, I've cleaned them, I've put everything into an IPA bath and cleaned it all. and I've cleaned up the contacts and just taken all the gunge off and cleaned the rims of the wheels with IPA, then a brass brush, and then finally a glass fibre brush. The bogies, of course, are two sets of everything, so I can start to reassemble. Before I do so, I would like to point out something. These are the bogie frames, of course. The wheels sit in there and the rims brush against these, which before I took them out, these were actually rubbing on the outside of the rim instead of the inside. However, further comparison has only led me to notice that in this bogie there are two flying contacts. You can just see them there. And in this bogie there's only one flying contact. And looking closely, I can see that there was one here, but that is broken off. Now, it could have been me. It could have been me. It happens in a virgin locomotive, nothing to do with Richard Branson. What I mean is one I've never worked on before. I've never worked on one of these Fleischmanns before. However, having noticed how the brushes were on the other side of these wheels, I'm led to the conclusion that perhaps someone else is more cack-handed than I am and broke it off. Maybe that's part of the problem, I don't know. Looking at the chassis, which I had just a second ago, and comparing how these fit in, they go in here obviously, and it go in this way. The contact which is missing is the one which would make a connection here and this plate that runs along here, which could be the positive pole. It means that the locomotive will be relying on the contact to this plate here. Only one of them will make contact. Is that a problem? Hopefully not, because this bogie will supply both rails to the motor. But the slightest problem, maybe going over points or something, it could lead to a bit of a problem. I've reached the stage where I want to reassemble the mainframe. So I cleaned all this. I'm going to fit the motor in. Remember, I marked them to know which way was up. So I got it this way, and the deeper recess has to be there, and it should fit quite tightly into the cradle. So that pushes down, and that's it there. The PCB with the two arms that contact the poles go first. I've also applied just a touch of glue to the coil to give it a bit more rigidity in case I knock it off again. So I sit it down, and then when it gets pushed forward, that will make good contact with the motor poles. PCB is held in place by these bars which have claws at each end. So I slide that in over the mainframe, and then carefully maneuver one of the claws over the PCB so that it lines up with a little receptacle hole, like so, and the same at this side. Try and ease it in. That feels not too bad. And now the same at the other end. Slide the bar in, maneuver the claw into its receptacle hole, and then apply a little bit of pressure to pull that up and over. You heard it click, that's it in place. So I'm hoping, quick check, make sure it's alright. I just had a wee visitor there. I'm hoping that this will work. And there we go. One end and the other end. Both directions. So the chassis is now ready to go into action. I had a little idea because I'd like to see some lights on it. This is a mini stretch light and I just wonder if this will fit in here. It certainly fits, presses against the spring. So will this illuminate? You just about see it coming on. So we could have lights. Right, what I should have done, of course, is test it from source. Chassis, contact bar. I hope nothing's gone wrong there. Yeah, that's okay. And on this side as well. Yeah, so I can get power directly from the contacts and the chassis. I'm quite pleased with that. I think I'll put a bulb into both ends as well. So the bulbs just seem to clip into the recess. Some of the mini treats have got a clip bar that also works, so go from the claws. Yep, there you go. And oops, let you see the lights working, motor turning, lights working, motor turning, turn it over. Of course the only thing is, oh, it's only one direction. I wonder if that's, no, surely not, is it? I wonder. Yeah, they're omnidirectional, but this one isn't working, so could be the bulb. I'll check it out. I've got one bulb working, that's definitely the front. And now for a disaster. You'll recall I talked about these bogies and one of these little arms had come off. Well, I very carefully handled them. I thought it would work with one bogie, put it in, didn't work, took the back out again and found that this one here did have the arm, is now broken off. So now I've got no way of communicating from the track through the wheels to the motor. So I've got a pickup plate for a mini treats. Now it is not the same shape obviously, but fortunately it's pretty much the same width. So I'm going to see if I can somehow fashion this to sit in here so that this arm folds over the top. Probably leave this side alone, so let me turn this over. Yep, that should work on this side. Can I get it done? Whoa, you're going to have to hang around to find out. Well, that's my replacement pickup plate. Fitted in, stuck it in here. I just had a little bit of microsurgery to do to the blade here because the original blade encroached onto the idler wheel and I knew it would catch, so I've just trimmed it a little bit to keep it out of the way. So I'm now in a stage where I'm going to try and fit this onto the bogie and fit it into the locomotive. So while I'm waiting on other parts of the loco to get ready, I thought I'd make a start in stripping this old paint off. When you look inside, you can see it's got that kind of crimsony orangey colour, So I'm going to strip the paint back to the bare body shell. I also noticed there's a couple of glass inserts for the lights, so I'd better remove those as well. The glass assembly is in 3 parts. There is this part here which produces the lights and possibly a headlamp shining bit, and that should just come out, and it's attached to what looks like spring steel plate, and then inside is the actual window surround, which is very fine, and I just have to try and prise it away, because when I did it the first time I actually broke one side. So again, another little repair. So I'm just trying to gently prise this out. These are the things you come across when you've never dealt with a locomotive like this. So I'm not sure if it's the paint that's sticking this in or whether it's been glued in. So I'm just going to be as careful as I can. And I think that's it. This one has come out complete. One arm longer than the other one, but I'm afraid my first attempt, the long arm, oops, tried to get it into my hand, there we go. The long arm broke off as I was pushing it in. Okay, so that can go in there. To help me clean it, I'm going to use an old trick I use in double O gauge days, and that is Dettol. This material seems to be able to take paint off of plastics without any lasting damage. So let's start off with a capful, whoops, there, and I'll just put that on there. Little brush just to kind of make sure it's all spreading all over. Yeah, there we go. And then all I can do now is leave that to soak for a number of hours. My chassis has been soaking overnight, and I just tried to brush it off, and most of the paint that we saw has come off. The grey paint has given way to the silver paint, and I'll often find that the lower layers very often are more difficult to remove. And also I'm noticing black paint. So has this been repainted on at least 2 occasions? Strangely enough, when I removed the paint from the body, I found what looked like BR diesel blue. So I think this has undergone a couple of identity changes in its little life. Well, needless to say, my improvised repair didn't actually work very well, so I got in touch with Fleischmann. I explained that I was trying to restore it. I identified the model as a 7232, and they very kindly sent me a service sheet for this model, which I have here, 7232, and they have listed the parts, and down here there are the 2 bogie frames with the model number 457232 and 467232. So I was able to trace them on eBay. Fleischmann themselves had only one of them in order, so I got one from them, and then I searched through eBay and I found another supplier. So between the two I've now acquired a 457232 and a 467232. relatively expensive compared to how much the locomotive was, but I think this old lady is worth it to get her up and running again. So there we have 2 bogies. I still have one little problem, that is, you may notice this is flopping around because the little steel bar that fits in here has gone missing. Tried to find it, couldn't see it anywhere, tried to fabricate something, wouldn't work. So I'm just going to have to live with this for the time being, and maybe later on I'll get a scrap machine or find something. I mean, where do you pick up a little steel strip 4mm long, 1mm wide with sufficient tension? Anyway, I can worry about that later on. So now we're ready to try and insert the bogies into the chassis. Right, are we going to get a moment of truth? I have to admit, my heart is in my mouth at the moment as I'm going to turn up the power and see if this will run. Oh, it's starting to run. Oh my goodness me, it's stuck a wee bit. That could be the contact with rolling road. Oh my word. Oh my word. Yep. Nearly full power. And then take it down again. And into the opposite direction. Sorry folks, I'm like a little kid here. That is good. That's this locomotive going from non-runner to a runner. Few things I found wrong with it. Obviously the bogies, this contact here broken, and just general service. This is quite an old machine, I reckon built in the 70s maybe, that's 40 odd years, and seems to be going pretty well. So I'm quite pleased to get that up and running. The body shell is still in the paint booth, so I'll have that ready hopefully in a couple of days. When that happens, put it all together and see what it looks like. And meantime I'll try and find some kind of solution to this wobbly coupler problem. So we're ready to let this go. Just going to see if we can get it to move forward. Oh, in the opposite direction, okay. Let's try bring it back. And there it goes. And we'll pick it up and we'll follow it around the track for a couple of laps. When my bathroom goes past. There we go. So I'm just going to leave that running for a few laps to kind of settle in. Have to be careful though because of the turnip pins have a tendency to work their way out after a couple of laps, so I have to be careful with that. But we've now got a working 7232, which I believe is really a V210 Class Diesel, a Volvo diesel. I can find out more about that later on. Just as I'm about to put it on the final test, I suddenly realised that when I put it into forward, it actually went into reverse. That's forward, and that's now reverse. And this was because when I took the motor out, I actually installed it upside down. So a simple matter of taking the panel out, turning the motor upside down, and now when I want it to go forward, I can move, by the way, this is forward, and it goes forward, and then I change direction, and this is reverse, and it goes reverse. However, you may watch the lamps. As I put it into forward, this is a forward lamp, this is a rear lamp, and you'll see that it is the rear lamp which is lit. So now it means I've got to reverse these diodes. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes reversing the diodes, and then we should have a working V215. Whatever I said before is now marked as a 215. So here I am, a week and a half later. The way I thought it might be: royal blue body, cream grille, silverized roof and black skirting all round, and I tried to put a little silver paint on the front grille and on the other side. That hasn't come out too well. Oh, you forgive me guys, I'm not very good at this area of the modelling restoration yet. So with that, I'm now going to get this up and running, and oops, I nearly forgot. I'm going to try and put decals onto this. Yeah, that's not looking too bad at all. I'm kind of pleased to get this Fleischmann 7232 eventually up and running. It's been a bit of a bother with lots of little things. Some of them, I have to admit, self-induced, but yeah. If you remember, this thing came in trying to be tarted up like a BR green diesel. I think the number on it was 890, and now I converted it into an upgraded DBV215 with a new livery. I don't know if it represents anything, but I think it looks quite smart. When it comes around this time, I'm going to bring it to a bit of a stop. Just about there, because I'm hoping I can get it to reverse into a siding, and I've got a rake of DB green coaches that I hope it will pick up. I'm kind of pleased with that, people. Kind of pleased with that. So I'm just going to leave that to run for a little while. I think what I'll do this time is I'll take it round onto the outer track. Right here, she come in, there we go. And put the tracks back again, show the power a wee bit. And oops, oh silly me, my power lead for my relay, my shuttle should say, caught there. Ah well, I'll have to stop this and start again. And here it comes round for take 2, no fault of its own, but that's looking nice. Oh, I'm very pleased with that. I'm very pleased. So as I said, I'm just going to let it run for a while, just to kind of give it a good run. It's not been run for I don't know how many years. And while that's happening, I'll just probably do a wee bit of tidying up. Okay, so see you in a while, guys. So this is the Fleischmann 7232. Originally should have been a 210 class. I changed it into 215 class, basically because that's the decals I had and it's very similar. Repainted it obviously from its maroon and black to this royal blue and cream with black trim silver roof. The decals are really pleased that I've managed to fit decals at end gauge. I still got decals to fit at the front, almost like a number plate at both ends. I'll maybe do that later on. There's still one or two little jobs to do. For example, I've got to fit the internal windows when I find them. Fit buffers, again I'll need to try and trace a set of buffers. But until then, it's working and it's my locomotive and I can do what I like with it. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked that. I hope you appreciate the effort in. I look back at my notes. I actually started this one in November 21. So what's that, 7-8 months I've been working on it. Just leaving it aside, not continuous, because of work and other commitments. Anyway, it's up running and it means I can get this stored away and maybe bring it out to run it every now and again with some European locomotives and rolling stock. If you like that and you want to see more end gauge or even model train repairs, then remember to subscribe, hit the like button, give me some favourable comments please. If they're not favourable, explain why. I'll try and answer all of them. So meantime, this is going to get stored away until I get round to it again, and I'll carry on with something else. So until then, all you in YouTube land, you take care of yourself and enjoy your hobby. And until the next time, for me, and Sort 6233, it's bye for now.